The Boeing 747 is undoubtedly one of the most recognizable aircraft in aviation history. Since its first flight in 1969, the iconic jumbo jet has played a crucial role in revolutionizing air travel. Today, unfortunately, the vast majority of airlines have retired their 747s from passenger service, with most aircraft serving the cargo sector. Getting to fly on a 747 is a rare experience nowadays, but what if I told you that until March 2025, there was a really unique way to experience the Queen of the Skies without even leaving the ground? In this video, I'm in Stockholm, Sweden, and this is the story of the Jumbo Stay Hostel. The story of Jumbo Stay begins back in 2007 with a Swedish businessman named Oscar Deus. Mr. Deus had experience in the hospitality industry and, at the time, was looking at developing hostels inside unique objects like boats, trains, and lighthouses. So how did he stumble across an entire 747? Well, as it turns out, this retired Boeing 747-200 was up for grabs after being deemed unairworthy in 2004. Mr. Deus decided to purchase it to set up an airport hostel inside. This was a great business opportunity because, at the time, there were no hostels or budget hotels nearby. In December of 2007, Deus was granted a building permit to establish a hostel within the retired 747 just beside the airport. The renovation process began the following month and cost more than $3 million. According to Deus, the most challenging process of the renovation was completing the cabin, as they only had 3,800 square feet of space to work with. The renovation was completed that summer, and the aircraft was towed to its permanent location just outside Arlanda Airport in August of 2008. The 747 was mounted on a concrete foundation, and its landing gear was secured in steel cradles. And to ensure future guests could quote-unquote board the aircraft with ease, a set of stairs and even an elevator were installed at the main entrance. The unique hostel officially opened on January 15, 2009 as the Jumbo Hostel, though the name was later changed to Jumbo Stay. Jumbo Stay was marketed as being a 15-minute walk from Arlanda Airport's terminals, and I was honestly really surprised at how easy it was to get there. A paved walking trail takes you from the terminal hotel area right up to where Jumbo Stay is. For me, it took no more than 10 minutes, and there are also bus stops there that now primarily serve the Radisson Blu Hotel and rental car facilities. Now, I visited the property in November 2025, and by this point, Jumbo Stay had been closed for about 8 months. But what was it like staying inside a decommissioned 747? Well, I can't speak to this, but I do have a friend who's going to tell us more about it.
What's going on, everybody? This is CM Aviation. I want to give a huge thank you to AS Aviation for letting me come on here and give some of my thoughts regarding Jumbo Stay in Stockholm. This is truly an incredible place. Did you ever think that you were going to get to sleep in a Boeing 747? Probably not, but this is truly incredible to have such a surreal opportunity to do so. So let me give you some of my insights. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough to get to stay in the cockpit, and I can certainly say that it is so cool that the cockpit is fully intact, bringing me to my first main talking point on how much the aircraft is fully intact. I think it's so cool that they were able to leave all the avionics, the engine gauges, the throttles, all that in there with no major problems, and it's really cool that they even have blinds that go across that so you can sleep, which is so cool and just so incredible. Once again, how much that they were able to make out of that, so cool. And they really choose clever places to put some of the rooms, right? So of course you had the cockpit, then the engines also can be rooms. I just think it's so cool that they really were innovative with the design of this place. I think that's really incredible. And then another key aspect that I want to highlight is definitely the aviation decor that you can find. There's some various brochures and whatnot, and even some model aircraft. And I think many Av geeks go to this place, so it's really cool that they have that element to it. And I think it makes it super unique and really enjoyable for any Av geeks. So yeah, feel free to let us know what you think in the comment section below. But again, thank you so much, AS, for using my pictures and letting me give some thoughts here. It is truly an incredible place and can't recommend enough. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Connor, and especially for all the pictures that you see in this video from inside the hostel. This 747-200 itself was built in 1976 for Singapore Airlines as Niner Victor Sierra Quebec Echo. It later flew with Pan Am and Nation Air Canada, while also being subleased out to Kuwait Airways, Garuda Indonesia, and Cathay Pacific. Later on, it flew for Tower Air until its bankruptcy in 2000. Finally, Swedish charter airline Transjet picked up the aircraft in 2002, but went bankrupt later that year. When the 747 was bought for Jumbo Stay, its renovations saw around 491 seats removed as the cabin was converted into hostel rooms and common areas. Regardless, some of the aircraft's original features, as you saw including the entire cockpit, were retained. The cockpit was transformed into a special private suite named the Cockpit Suite, which, apart from retaining the aircraft's original flight controls, featured 2 beds, an ensuite shower, and a toilet. The hostel featured another suite called the Black Box Suite, located in the rear of the aircraft with similar amenities. And just to make it clear, the aircraft was connected to local plumbing lines, ensuring a constant supply of water for the bathrooms in particular. In total, the jumbo stay boasted 33 rooms with up to 4 beds in each. Apart from the suites, the rooms were roughly 65 square feet, with guests having access to shared bathrooms. While most of the standard rooms were located in the fuselage, others were placed in the engine nacelles or the wheel wells. Accessing these rooms required checking in inside the main fuselage, then stepping back outside to access them. And as a minute yet thoughtful detail, specially drawn taxiway lines were placed on the concrete with the room numbers on them to guide guests who were staying in the engine or wheel well rooms. The nose of the Jumbo Stay 747, well known for being the place where first or business class is normally located, had been converted into a cafe. Here, guests could access breakfast, snacks, and light beverages. Breakfast usually began around 3 a.m. and was rather simple, consisting of bread, cheese, cold cuts, cereals, and juice. The cafe area also featured microwave ovens for guests who self-catered. On the upper deck behind the cockpit suite, a conference lounge was present, featuring 8 first-class seats. Furthermore, the left side wing was converted into a patio. Guests could step outside onto the wing and sit at tables while simultaneously watching air traffic pass by along the taxiway. The jumbo stay could also be reserved for private events such as weddings. The main events could take place on the wingtop balcony, while the wedding receptions could be held inside. Now, it is super unfortunate that this hostel is no longer taking bookings. It's bankrupt. As you can see, it would have been an absolute once-in-a-lifetime experience to stay here. You can see you could have stayed up on the main deck. There's a cockpit suite, I believe. Some individual rooms in each of the 4 engines. And as you can see, a little bit of a walkway out onto the left wing where there's patio tables. And then also another room or a suite in the aft section of the aircraft. What an experience this must have been. This closed from the day I'm filming this. I'm currently here in end of November 2025, and this closed down in March of 2025, so just barely missed it. As you can see right here, back when the hostel used to be in operation, there was an elevator, not in the best shape anymore, but instead of taking the stairs all the way up, you could have also gotten into this elevator and it would have taken you all the way up to the top floor. And if you haven't noticed, there's just pictures of all 747s on the sides. You can kind of see up there the VC-25, the Air Force One, Dreamlifter, all 747 themed, which is awesome. Now, in the years following Jumbo Stay's establishment, multiple brick-and-mortar airport hotels began opening around Arlanda Airport. As a result, Jumbo Stay's revenue continuously decreased over the years, especially during the pandemic. In 2019, Jumbo Stay reported a revenue of 8 million Swedish krona, or roughly $793,000, which had fallen to 4 million krona, or roughly $396,000 by 2023. According to Mr. Deus, hotel competition was not the only factor contributing to fall in revenues. It was also because Jumbo Stay lost advertising rights at its location. Previously, it could sell advertising space where the 747 stood, and you can sort of tell by the faded Leica Mobile titles on the fuselage, Leica Mobile being a network operator. Sadly, in 2020, Swedavia, the company operating Sweden's airports, took over the advertising sales, thereby taking away significant revenue. Eventually, following over 15 years in operation, Jumbo Stay declared bankruptcy and closed its doors in March of 2025. The world's only such example of a Boeing 747 hotel was now part of history, and over 800 upcoming reservations had to be canceled. At the time of making this video, Jumbo Stay remains where it's been for the past 17 years, awaiting its fate. Multiple attempts have been made to find new buyers, but all of them have been unsuccessful. Furthermore, Swedavia owns the land where Jumbo Stay stands, and it has stated that it's not going to lease that land out to anybody else. While no concrete plans have been given, the most likely outcome is that Jumbo Stay will be scrapped and sold for parts. While there are various examples of former aircraft being converted into hotels, no other examples exist with the 747 following the Jumbo Stay's demise. The Corendon Hotel in Amsterdam has a former KLM 747-400 entirely preserved. However, this 747 is just for display, and visitors are unable to step inside. So if you're ever in Stockholm anytime soon and want to witness this unique piece of aviation history, Jumbo Stay is still there as of January 2026, but it surely does not have much time left. In any case, I'm grateful to have visited, and if you have any fun memories staying at the Jumbo Stay, drop them in the comments below. While most 747s retired from passenger service get converted into freighters and fly for another 20 odd years, Jumbo Stay was an example of an aircraft given a unique second chance at life without even having to leave the ground.